The sun rose over Manhattan, casting a soft golden hue across the city skyline. Inside a sleek penthouse perched high above the noise, Maria quietly stepped through the front door, just as she did every morning. To the world, she was invisible, a maid who scrubbed marble floors and dusted shelves without making a sound. But Maria had a secret. Years ago, in a different life in Colombia, she had been a math prodigy. Numbers were her native language, patterns her playground. Then violence swept through her village, and her life shattered. She lost her family, her home, and the scholarship that could have changed everything. She fled to America, rebuilding her life not with equations, but with elbow grease and grit. That morning, while tidying Evan Blake's home office, the CEO of one of the most powerful AI companies in the world, her eyes drifted to a cluttered whiteboard. It was covered in equations, code, and technical jargon. She tilted her head. Something didn't add up. Her hands, meant to clean, hovered in midair. She traced the loops of the formulas with her eyes, her heart suddenly racing. She could see it clearly, a mistake. A massive one. Her mind lit up. She didn't mean to step out of line, but instinct took over. Grabbing a marker, she adjusted a formula, restructured a model, and left a small note beneath it. Just a few strokes. Just a whisper of who she used to be. Then, quietly, she packed her supplies and went back to mopping the floor. Maria didn't sleep that night. She kept replaying what she had done on the whiteboard, worried she had crossed a line. The marker had felt foreign in her hand, yet natural too, like touching a part of herself she'd buried long ago. She hadn't meant to interfere. She just couldn't ignore the flaw once she saw it. It was so simple, once you looked at it the right way. A loop that didn't need to exist. A wasted operation multiplying across billions of data points. She had only meant to help, quietly, anonymously. Surely Evan Blake, with his million-dollar engineers and rooms full of PhDs, wouldn't even notice the scribble left behind by his maid. But Evan noticed. He came home late, as usual, loosening his tie and heading to his office to unwind. As he passed the whiteboard, something caught his eye. The formula, different. He froze. A correction had been made. Not just a tweak, but an elegant overhaul. 3 lines redone, a new function introduced, and a simple note: you're looping unnecessarily. Try minimizing function f this way instead. Evan stared in disbelief. This wasn't guesswork. This was genius. The problem his best engineers had battled for over a year, solved. In seconds. Who did this? He ran a simulation based on the change. His screen blinked. His jaw dropped. It worked. Not only that, it worked better than anything they'd tried. He leaned back in his chair, stunned, the whiteboard glowing behind him like a message from a ghost. Or a genius hiding in plain sight. The next morning, Maria entered the penthouse as usual, her cleaning cart gliding silently over polished floors. But something was off. Evan Blake was already home, standing in the hallway, waiting. She paused, surprised to see him there, his gaze locked on her with something unreadable, part curiosity, part disbelief. "Maria," he said gently. "Can I ask you something?" She nodded, heart thudding. "Did you write on my whiteboard?" Her eyes widened. Shame flooded her face. "I'm sorry, sir," she said quickly. "I didn't mean to touch anything. I was just cleaning, and I saw something wrong. I shouldn't have." Evan stepped forward. "You solved a $200 million problem that's been choking our infrastructure for over a year. My top engineers couldn't crack it. But you did. In less than a minute." Maria's lips parted, but no words came. Her hands tightened around the handle of the cart. "Where did you learn to think like that?" he asked, voice softer now. She hesitated. Then quietly, "I studied applied mathematics. Back home. I had a scholarship. I dreamed of building systems that helped people. But, things changed. I lost my family in a conflict. I fled. Everything else, my degree, my work, it disappeared. Evan was silent. In that moment, he didn't see a maid. He saw a woman who had survived unimaginable loss, yet somehow held on to her brilliance. A woman whose talent had been buried by circumstance, but not erased. Something inside him shifted. Deeply, permanently. A week later, the entire company buzzed with confusion. An emergency all-hands meeting had been called, no agenda, no explanation. Engineers filed into the auditorium, murmuring theories. Investors showed up. Even board members flew in. Something big was happening. Then the lights dimmed, and Evan Blake walked on stage. But he wasn't alone. Standing beside him, in a simple blouse and borrowed blazer, was Maria. Some employees exchanged puzzled glances. Others recognized her as the woman who sometimes emptied their trash cans or quietly swept the labs at night. But Evan's expression was resolute. I called this meeting, he began, because I need every person in this company to understand what brilliance really looks like. He turned to Maria. This is Maria. For the last 3 years, she's been cleaning my home. Last week, she noticed a flaw in one of our core algorithms. She didn't have access to our systems. She wasn't asked. She just saw the problem, and solved it. In seconds. The room was silent. That single correction will save this company over $200 million in the next year alone, he continued. So today, I'm announcing 2 things. First, Maria is no longer cleaning floors, she's joining our R&D team, effective immediately, to lead a new division focused on algorithmic integrity and efficiency. Second, we're launching the Maria Foundation. Funding education and opportunity for overlooked talent around the world. For a beat, the room was still. Then, slowly, hands clapped. Then faster. Louder. Within seconds, the entire auditorium rose in a standing ovation. Within months, everything changed, not just for Maria, but for hundreds of others like her. She took her place in the company's innovation division, no longer wearing gloves to scrub floors, but leading teams of engineers, solving problems with the same quiet brilliance that had once gone unnoticed. She didn't seek the spotlight, but it found her anyway. Her story was picked up by national news outlets, then global ones. She spoke, nervously, humbly, on stages she never dreamed of standing on: MIT, Stanford, even the United Nations. Every time, she said the same thing. Talent is everywhere. But opportunity? That's the rare thing. Sometimes, brilliance is hidden behind an accent, a uniform, a job title. But that doesn't make it any less real. The Maria Foundation quickly became more than a gesture. It funded scholarships for girls in rural communities, retraining programs for refugees, and mentorship for those rebuilding their lives in new countries. By the end of the year, over 500 people had received educational grants, and that number kept growing. Back at the company, something had shifted too. People looked at janitors, receptionists, delivery staff differently. They looked up more. Said hello more. Listened more. As for Evan Blake, he often said that hiring Maria into leadership was the best decision he'd ever made, not because she saved the company millions, but because she reminded them all of something far more valuable. That genius has no job title. And sometimes, the people who change the world start by cleaning it.